Thailand's nightlife, neon lights, booming music, and endless street food. It's a dream for many tourists, but what really happens when Chinese women step into this after-dark playground? Are exotic parties, cheap drinks, and mesmerizing beaches hiding dangers nobody talks about? In this documentary, we'll dive deep into the stories, rumors, and surprising truths about life after sunset in Thailand, through the eyes of Chinese women who've been there. You might be shocked by what lies beyond the postcard perfection. Ready? 2. Thailand's cultural and social landscape. Thailand is often called the Land of Smiles, a place where vibrant festivals and delicious street food collide with centuries of spiritual tradition. On one hand, it's a kingdom deeply influenced by Buddhism. Think temples, orange-robed monks, and devout locals making daily offerings. On the other hand, it's a country eagerly embracing modern trends, from mega malls in Bangkok to pop culture influences from the West and beyond. This contrast has shaped how Thais approach nightlife, tourism, and social interactions, especially with foreign visitors. When people picture Thailand, they often think of bustling Bangkok with its floating markets and futuristic SkyTrain. But the country is more than its capital. Coastal hotspots like Phuket and Krabi draw sunseekers, while Chiang Mai in the north offers mountain scenery and a laid-back vibe. Pattaya, famous for its raucous walking street, has an anything-goes reputation that both attracts and repels visitors. These distinct regions create different flavors of after-dark life, from wild parties to mellow nights under lantern-lit skies. Underneath the tourist-friendly exterior lies a set of cultural norms deeply rooted in Thai tradition. Respect for elders, saving face, and staying calm under pressure, often referred to as Mai Pen Rai, it's okay, play major roles in everyday Thai interactions. For women in Thailand, societal expectations can be a bit nuanced. On the one hand, Thai women often hold jobs, run businesses, and participate in public life. On the other, there's still a strong emphasis on modesty and family values, especially in more conservative or rural areas. This means that open displays of wild partying might clash with certain segments of Thai society. Now add into the mix the surge of global tourism. For years, Thailand has topped the must-visit lists, attracting millions of visitors annually, including a large number from China. Many arrive for a short break, expecting a carefree beach holiday or a few nights of city excitement. However, the impact goes both ways. Locals, especially those in tourist-heavy places like Phuket and Pattaya, adapt to foreign tastes, leading to an explosion of bars, clubs, and after-hours spots. Thailand's economy benefits significantly from this tourism wave, but it also raises questions about over-commercialization and cultural dilution. What's important to note is how these cultural and social underpinnings affect Chinese women traveling or living in Thailand. Some Chinese travelers find Thai hospitality welcoming. Others say they sense mild resentment from locals who feel their homeland is becoming too crowded with foreigners. Online chatter suggests that while Thais generally smile and keep interactions polite, misunderstandings can still happen, especially when language barriers arise or when Chinese customs clash with Thai ones. For example, Chinese travelers sometimes expect quick service and can be forthright in their requests, whereas Thai culture values a more laid-back approach. In short, Thailand's vibrant social fabric is the backdrop to a nightlife scene that can be thrilling, chaotic, or downright bizarre, depending on where you go and what you do. For Chinese women, entering this culture is like stepping onto a dance floor, where everyone's moving to a different beat. The question is whether you'll find yourself swaying comfortably to the rhythm or stumbling in confusion about the unspoken rules. Either way, understanding the basics of Thailand's cultural and social landscape is the first step to making sense of the after-dark environment waiting to be explored. 3. Spotlight on Thailand's nightlife. When the sun sets in Thailand, a whole new world awakens. From the neon glare of Bangkok's red light districts to the low-key jazz bars in Hua Hin, nightlife here is an ever-shifting kaleidoscope of tastes, sights, and sounds. Bangkok alone has multiple nightlife hubs. Khao San Road for backpackers who want cheap drinks and street parties, Sukhumvit for upscale clubs and rooftop lounges, and Silom or Patpong for a heady mix of night markets, go-go bars, and late-night eats. Beyond the capital, you'll find Phuket's Patong Beach alive with neon signage and throngs of partygoers. Bar streets extend for blocks, pumping out everything from EDM to old-school rock ballads. Street performers might twirl fire batons, while hawkers sell fried insects to curious tourists. Pattaya's infamous walking street, meanwhile, is a frenzy of loud music, flashy signs, and touts promising the best show in town. Of course, you can also discover quieter corners, a chilled-out beach bar in Koh Samui, or a student-friendly indie music scene in Chiang Mai. Why so many distinct hotspots? Tourism is a massive industry, and each region caters to a different crowd. If you're a budget backpacker, Khao San Road's cheap bucket cocktails might be your scene. If you prefer luxurious clubs where drinks can cost more than a week's rent, Sukhumvit is ready to dazzle you with big-name DJs and VIP sections. Whatever your vibe, you'll likely find a venue that serves it, sometimes side by side in the same neighborhood. An interesting twist is how international tourism has shaped these areas. Over the past decade, Chinese tourists have become one of the largest visitor groups in Thailand. You'll see signs in Mandarin, restaurants with Chinese language menus, and even specialized tours that cater almost exclusively to Chinese clientele. Local businesses learned that attracting Chinese customers can be very lucrative, so they hire staff who speak basic Mandarin or design promotional offers that resonate with Chinese cultural preferences, like group discounts or holiday packages aligned with Chinese festivals. But just because these areas are tourist-friendly doesn't mean they're free of hazards. Con artists and scammers thrive where there's money to be made, and naive partygoers can be easy targets. Rumors swirl about overpriced VIP experiences that turn out to be grimy backrooms, or about taxi drivers who take you on a magical mystery ride to wring out a higher fare. Then there are the well-known stories of ping pong shows or seedy dens that operate in legal gray zones, luring curious thrill seekers and sometimes leading them into uncomfortable or even dangerous situations. In short, Thai nightlife is a layered affair. It can be exhilarating. Who wouldn't want to dance until dawn by a tropical beach or sip a cocktail high above Bangkok's skyline? But it also requires a healthy dose of caution. From bold street markets to exclusive penthouse clubs, the party scene is vast, diverse, and constantly evolving, shaped by local traditions, global trends, and a never-ending stream of visitors from all corners of the world. For Chinese women exploring this land of late-night possibilities, the question becomes how to navigate these options without getting lost in the chaos. 4. Chinese women in Thailand's nightlife. Chinese tourists have been flocking to Thailand for years, drawn by its sunny weather, tropical scenery, and famously indulgent nightlife. But let's zoom in on the experiences of Chinese women. Why do they come? What do they expect? And how does reality compare to the glossy travel brochures? First off, cost and convenience are huge selling points. For many Chinese travelers, Thailand is relatively close, with direct flights from major cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. Travel packages often bundle flights, accommodations, and guided tours at prices that can be cheaper than a domestic vacation back home. The promise of warm beaches, flavorful dishes, and colorful nightlife is an easy sell. But once they arrive, Chinese women can find themselves balancing two worlds. On one side, there's the allure of Thailand's carefree party culture. Open-air bars, tropical cocktails, and a sense of freedom from the social constraints they might feel at home. On the other side, they carry their own cultural background and family expectations, which often emphasize staying modest and avoiding public displays of wild behavior. Some Chinese women say they feel torn. They want to let loose, but they also worry about judgment from family or from older Chinese tour group members who prefer more traditional tourism, like temple visits and scenic tours. Language can also be a challenge. While some Thai staff in tourist-heavy areas speak basic Mandarin, Chinese women traveling independently may still face communication barriers. Ordering a meal or clarifying prices can become a game of gestures and stunted English if no Mandarin-speaking guide is around. This confusion increases in late-night scenarios. Imagine trying to argue with a tuk-tuk driver at 2 a.m. about an inflated fare when neither of you speaks the other's language. That confusion sometimes sets the stage for misunderstandings or even exploitation. For solo Chinese female travelers or small female groups, safety concerns loom large. The typical advice, watch your drink, don't go to shady places alone, keep valuables hidden, applies anywhere, but some find that as foreign tourists, they may stand out more as potential targets. Stories circulate online about women being followed late at night or approached aggressively by strangers in clubs. These incidents don't happen to everyone, of course, but the fear can linger and shape how Chinese women plan their evenings. On a brighter note, many Chinese women do report positive experiences, learning Thai dance moves at a beach party, making new international friends, or simply escaping the hustle and bustle of city life back home. Social media posts from popular Chinese travel influencers frequently show them enjoying neon-lit Bangkok rooftops or night markets, highlighting the fun side of local nightlife. Still, behind those glossy Instagram shots, there's a layer of complexity: culture shock, safety anxieties, and the risk of being taken advantage of in an unfamiliar environment. This balancing act between the thrill of new experiences and the caution of being in a foreign land sets the stage for deeper questions about what really happens after dark. 5. The hidden realities. Challenges for Chinese women. While many Chinese women arrive in Thailand ready for an epic vacation, some run into hurdles that aren't always mentioned in travel brochures. Let's peel back the layers on these challenges, which range from small annoyances to serious threats. There's a stereotype that Chinese tourists carry a lot of cash, or that they're always on a spending spree. This can paint a target on their backs. Petty thieves, pickpockets, or even more elaborate scams, like staged accidents, may try to extract money from unsuspecting visitors. In busy nightlife areas, it's also not unusual for touts to aggressively approach Chinese women, offering tours, massages, or private shows. While some touts are legit, others use pushy tactics that can feel intimidating or harassing. Many Chinese women value maintaining a certain image, both for themselves and for their families back home. Losing face by appearing drunk or reckless in public can be a big concern. Even if they want to party, they might hold back for fear of shame. Some also worry about rumors spreading among fellow Chinese travelers or in WeChat groups if they're seen in certain clubs. We've all heard the classic travel tip: learn a few key phrases in the local language. But when panic hits, say, if your wallet gets stolen or you're feeling unsafe in a taxi, finding the words to ask for help can become impossibly tough. While English might help in tourist zones, Thai is still the dominant language. And if Chinese women don't speak English well, they could feel entirely isolated when it matters most. A lot of Chinese tourists still travel in group tours. This can be safer and more structured, but it also has downsides: limited freedom, rushed schedules, and sometimes forced shopping stops. Those who travel solo or in small female groups get more freedom but less built-in support. If something goes wrong, they can feel very alone in a foreign land. It's 2025, and social media rules the day. Some Chinese travelers are so focused on capturing the perfect nightlife selfies or live streaming from the club that they forget to stay vigilant. Others fear that posting certain photos might attract negative attention or gossip back home. This social media tug-of-war can create extra stress, especially if they're trying to impress followers while staying safe in real-life scenarios. All these challenges don't mean Chinese women can't have a blast in Thailand. Many do, and they return home with cherished memories of island hopping, beach parties, and exotic cocktails. But these hidden realities suggest a darker side that's easy to miss amid the hype of cheap flights and glamorous nightlife photos. Awareness is key. Knowing the potential pitfalls and preparing for them can make a massive difference between a fun adventure and a trip that ends in tears or regret. 6. Illicit activities and shadowy underbelly. Thailand's nightlife, while often advertised as harmless fun, can hide a murky underbelly where illegal gambling, human trafficking, and drug use occasionally overlap with mainstream partying. It's not that every club or bar is a hotbed of crime, far from it, but the rumors and stories circulating online paint a picture of a scene that can be darker than the average tourist might suspect. Thailand's sex industry is world famous, and it's no secret that places like Patpong or Soy Cowboy in Bangkok attract tourists looking for adult entertainment. Some claim that certain bars operate under the cover of legitimate nightlife, but hide forced or underpaid sex workers. While it's impossible to say how prevalent this is, organizations like the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, UNODC, have flagged Thailand as both a destination and transit country for trafficking. Chinese women, especially those with uncertain visa situations, can be lured by promises of well-paying jobs, only to find themselves trapped in exploitative circumstances. While official Thai law cracks down on drugs, with historically severe penalties for possession and trafficking, the reality on the ground can be different. Full moon parties on islands like Koh Phangan are famously wild. Stories pop up online about partygoers getting pills from random friendly locals, only to end up hospitalized or in jail. Chinese women unfamiliar with local norms might stumble into these scenes without realizing the potential for drug spikes or targeted theft. Thailand does not allow most forms of gambling, so underground casinos or hidden VIP rooms are rumored to exist. Some accounts online suggest that wealthy Chinese gamblers are specifically courted by underground networks in places like Pattaya. And where there's high-stakes gambling, there's often money laundering, intimidation, or worse. For Chinese women accompanying these gamblers, whether as girlfriends, staff, or simply curious onlookers, the environment can be fraught with potential dangers, from loan sharks to sudden police raids. Though not every police officer is corrupt, it's an open secret that fines can sometimes be negotiated on the spot for minor infractions, like staying past closing time at a bar. This creates confusion about what's legal or not, and Chinese women can feel especially vulnerable if they don't understand the local language. Some unscrupulous individuals might even pose as law enforcement to extort money from clueless tourists. Last but not least, it's widely rumored that certain nightlife zones are heavily influenced by criminal syndicates, Thai, Chinese, Russian, or otherwise. From controlling bar territories to running protection rackets, these unseen actors add another layer of risk. Although most tourists never see these dealings directly, the potential for violence or exploitation exists. And for Chinese women caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, the aftermath can be devastating. In the midst of all this, many tourists sail through their Thai vacation without encountering anything shady. Nonetheless, acknowledging that these illicit elements exist is crucial. Forewarned is forearmed, as they say. If Chinese women remain aware of these lurking dangers, they can make wiser choices, choosing reputable venues, traveling in groups, and recognizing red flags early on. 7. Governmental and community responses. If Thailand's nightlife can hide such risks, you might wonder what the Thai government and local communities are doing about it. The truth is, efforts to regulate or reform the after-dark scene can be a bit of a mixed bag. Progress in some areas, stumbling blocks in others. The Tourism Authority of Thailand, TAT, regularly publishes safety tips and guidelines for international visitors. They might highlight areas to avoid, how to deal with taxi drivers, and basic cultural do's and don'ts. Chinese language brochures and websites advise travelers to watch out for scams or petty theft, reminding them that saving face shouldn't mean ignoring warnings or refusing to report crimes. However, these official messages can get overshadowed by the lure of cheap travel deals and exotic party photos shared on social media. Over the years, there have been waves of crackdowns, particularly in Bangkok and Pattaya, where authorities try to enforce earlier closing times for bars or impose stricter ID checks at clubs. Sometimes these efforts fade out as soon as the headlines die down, leaving the same old nightlife scene to resume. A few places maintain a facade of compliance, shutting doors at midnight only to quietly reopen them after the police sweep the block. The on-again, off-again nature of these crackdowns can confuse both locals and tourists. As Chinese tourism boomed, the Thai government recognized the need for better coordination with Chinese embassies and consulates. Joint initiatives include increased signage in Mandarin, emergency hotlines staffed by Chinese speakers, and occasional joint patrols during peak travel periods, like Chinese New Year or Golden Week. These steps do help some Chinese travelers feel safer, but they aren't a silver bullet against deeper issues like trafficking or corruption. While some might think of Thailand as a place of non-stop partying, there are also dedicated NGOs working to protect vulnerable populations, both Thai and foreign. Groups addressing human trafficking, labor exploitation, and women's rights have a presence in Bangkok, Chiang Mai, and other tourist hubs. They sometimes offer rescue programs, legal aid, or safe houses for individuals fleeing abusive situations. For Chinese women in trouble, language barriers can make it hard to reach out, but these organizations are increasingly aware that a rising number of non-Thai speakers might need help. In some neighborhoods, local residents band together to create their own watch systems. Community policing is a concept where citizens assist law enforcement by reporting suspicious activities or stepping in if they see wrongdoing. In areas popular with Chinese travelers, you'll occasionally find signs in Mandarin urging visitors to respect local customs and contact a certain hotline if they feel unsafe. This synergy between community effort and official oversight is still growing, yet it represents a step toward a more secure nightlife environment. All in all, the Thai government and local communities are aware of the challenges that come with a thriving nightlife. They balance the economic benefits of tourism with the moral responsibility to keep visitors, including Chinese women, safe. Still, enforcement can be patchy, and cultural differences persist. Travelers who remain cautious and well-informed tend to fare better than those who blindly dive into the scene, expecting everything to be as safe as a postcard suggests. 8. Transformations and modern shifts. Thailand's nightlife has always been a shapeshifter, adapting to new global trends, evolving cultural values, and the ever-changing demands of an international audience. In recent years, modern shifts have started to alter how things look after dark, from technology-enabled transparency to new social attitudes among both Thais and foreign travelers. Nowadays, almost everyone has a smartphone in hand, snapping pictures or live streaming from neon-lit streets. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and Weibo allow visitors to broadcast their Thai adventures to friends back home in real time. For better or worse, this visibility can serve as a check on shady behavior. Nobody wants to be caught on video ripping off a tourist or engaging in illicit activities. Social media also helps travelers spread the word about safe clubs, known scams, or hidden gems, creating informal traveler networks that are especially helpful for Chinese women who want to connect with each other while abroad. With Chinese tourism booming, some Thai venues have specifically rebranded themselves to appeal more strongly to Chinese preferences. It's not uncommon to see signs in Mandarin, staff trained to speak basic Chinese phrases, or even special promotions during major Chinese holidays. Some clubs in Bangkok are rumored to offer hot pot nights or Mandarin karaoke sessions to lure in Chinese patrons. This shift can create pockets where Chinese women feel right at home, yet it also raises the risk of them being singled out by opportunistic scammers who assume they're flush with cash. Thailand's younger generations are increasingly exposed to global pop culture, whether through Netflix, K-pop, or Western music festivals. This openness can foster a more progressive nightlife scene, where diversity and women's safety are taken more seriously. You'll find some forward-thinking clubs featuring ladies' codes that clearly state zero tolerance for harassment, or volunteer groups handing out safety pamphlets. Slowly, the conversation about consent and responsible partying is finding its way into mainstream Thai discussions, spurred on by international trends. The Thai government occasionally revisits legislation around nightlife, gambling, and alcohol sales. Meanwhile, digital footprints left by unscrupulous businesses, like negative reviews on TripAdvisor or intense criticism on Chinese social platforms, Xiaohongshu, Weibo, can tank a venue's reputation overnight. This modern accountability system makes it harder for clubs to ignore safety issues or shady practices if they want to stay in business. Globally, more women are traveling alone than ever before, and Chinese women are part of this wave. Blogs and vlogs from female solo travelers share experiences navigating nightlife responsibly, how to find safe accommodations, tips on bar etiquette, and ways to ward off unwanted advances. These stories can be empowering, showing other women that, yes, it's possible to enjoy Thai nightlife on your own terms, provided you stay alert and do your homework. Taken together, These transformations hint that Thailand's after-dark scene is both resilient and capable of change. Although the party first, ask questions later mentality still thrives in some corners, greater awareness and evolving social values may gradually make the nightlife safer and more inclusive. Whether this progress is fast enough or sweeping enough to protect all visitors, particularly Chinese women, remains an open question. 9. Personal perspectives and interviews. A documentary-style piece wouldn't be complete without personal stories that bring the facts and figures to life. Although we don't have real-time interviews here, let's imagine a handful of composite voices based on online reviews, travel forums, and rumored anecdotes circulating among Chinese travelers and local Thais. These stories offer a more human view of how Chinese women experience Thailand's nightlife and how Thais react to them. Meng, a 26-year-old from Shenzhen, traveled to Bangkok and then onward to Chiang Mai, documenting her journey on Weibo. She recalls her first night in Bangkok, wandering through Khao San Road amid blaring music and busy street food stalls. "It was super exciting, but I felt overwhelmed," she says. "All the touts seemed to spot me immediately and tried to drag me into bars. One guy wouldn't let go of my arm until I yelled at him in Mandarin." Meng later found a more laid-back bar, made new friends, and ended up having a positive overall experience. But the initial harassment left her shaken. Lee and Mei are college friends from Guangzhou who decided on a spontaneous girls' trip to Phuket. They described the beach parties as exhilarating, but also mentioned that drink prices seemed to triple whenever they spoke Mandarin in front of bartenders. "We started pretending we didn't understand Chinese," Lee jokes. "A friend taught us how to order in English, and it was cheaper." They also recall a minor scare when a group of local men followed them to their hotel entrance after a party, but a security guard intervened and nothing else happened. Noi works at a popular bar off Walking Street, where she sees throngs of international tourists every night. "We have a lot of Chinese guests these days," she says. "They can be really generous tippers, but some also get impatient if service is slow. I've seen arguments break out over language misunderstandings." Despite these minor tensions, Noi appreciates the influx of Chinese customers because it brings steady income. She also mentions that her bar manager recently hired a part-time Mandarin translator to help handle orders and avoid confusion. An unnamed Chinese woman posted on a travel forum that she arrived in Thailand expecting to work as a promoter for a nightclub, only to find that her employers insisted she entertain male clients in private rooms. She refused and left immediately, losing part of her deposit and facing threats that her passport would be taken. The post caused a stir online, with many commenters advising caution about job offers that sound too good to be true. These snapshots don't capture every possible scenario, but they do highlight recurring themes: excitement, curiosity, language barriers, occasional harassment, and the lure of potential financial gain. Some Chinese women find a thrilling escape in Thailand, while others brush up against unsettling realities that remind them how vulnerable they can be in a foreign land. Each story adds nuance to the larger conversation about what really happens once the party lights switch on after dark. 10. Possible solutions and future outlook. With so many overlapping factors, cultural misunderstandings, scams, inconsistent law enforcement, solving the safety issues Chinese women face in Thailand's nightlife isn't straightforward. Still, a variety of ideas and initiatives offer hope that the scene can become safer and more inclusive. Most of Thailand's laws around nightlife, drug use, and harassment already exist. The challenge is enforcement. If local authorities consistently applied closing times, banned underage drinking, and penalized harassment, much of the chaos could be tamed. Some experts suggest investing in specialized tourist police units fluent in Mandarin, patrolling major hotspots to offer immediate assistance and deter wrongdoers. In the age of TripAdvisor, Google reviews, and Chinese platforms like Dianping or Mafengwo, user feedback can make or break a business. Encouraging Chinese visitors to rate and review bars or clubs based on safety, fairness in pricing, and staff behavior can pressure venues to uphold better standards. Over time, unethical businesses might lose customers if they rack up negative reviews for scamming or harassing foreign patrons. more and more Chinese travelers are venturing out on their own, without group tours or guides. Offering workshops or online tutorials that teach essential Thai phrases, cultural etiquette, and local safety tips could empower these women to navigate nightlife more confidently. On the flip side, Thai clubs and travel agencies that learn about Chinese culture, like why face is so important or how to avoid inadvertently offending Chinese guests, can improve mutual respect and reduce conflicts. Stronger collaborations between Thai tourism boards, local business associations, and Chinese travel agencies might lead to official, approved nightlife venues known for fair prices, decent security, and zero tolerance for exploitation. Such endorsements could appear in Chinese tourism apps or be promoted in city brochures. While not foolproof, this system could help travelers quickly identify reputable spots. Imagine an app that pinpoints user-reviewed safe zones for nightlife, offers emergency Mandarin hotlines, or has a panic button that alerts local authorities if you're in trouble. These kinds of digital tools already exist in fragmented forms. A more unified, well-promoted platform geared toward Chinese-speaking travelers, whether official or community-driven, could drastically reduce the sense of isolation many women feel. Ultimately, the biggest change might come from shifting attitudes, both in Thailand and in China. As more Thai businesses champion ethical, safe nightlife practices, and as Chinese women become more informed travelers, dangerous situations might lessen. Cultural acceptance of women enjoying nightlife on their own terms could alleviate the stigma that fuels secrecy and shame. While transformations like this take time, every step, from viral social media stories to grassroots activism, helps push the needle toward a safer, more welcoming atmosphere. The future of Thailand's nightlife rests in the hands of everyone involved, from government officials to party-hopping tourists, from bar owners to digital influencers. By combining improved policy, community-driven solutions, and a willingness to understand each other's cultures, there's potential to create a world where Chinese women, and all women, can explore Thailand's after-dark magic without fear. As the lights dim and the city streets come alive under neon glows, Thailand's nightlife beckons with a promise of endless fun and discovery. For Chinese women, that promise can be both thrilling and daunting, wrapped in a cultural tapestry that is neither fully understood nor entirely predictable. From the bustling chaos of Bangkok's bars to the beach raves of Phuket, each evening out brings a mix of possibility and risk. Throughout this documentary-style exploration, we've peeled back multiple layers, from the cultural expectations Thai society holds, to the excitement and anxieties of Chinese visitors, to the murky corners where scams and illicit activities thrive. We've heard personal stories, some full of joy and newfound freedom, others marred by harassment or exploitation. We've touched on the efforts that governments, NGOs, and local communities are making, as well as the modern shifts that technology and social media have sparked. Ultimately, the shocking truth about Thailand's nightlife isn't that it's uniformly dangerous or that every venue is a hidden trap. Rather, it's that behind the glossy travel ads and social media highlights, there exists a real struggle for balance between profits and safety, between cultural allure and respect, between the desire for a carefree party and the need for personal protection. Chinese women stand at a unique intersection in this landscape, often juggling their own cultural norms with the freedom and unpredictability Thailand offers. So, what can you take away from all this? Awareness is everything. Know the local customs, keep an eye on your surroundings, don't blindly trust every smiling face, and connect with fellow travelers or locals who genuinely want to help. Use the digital tools at your disposal to research venues and read up on recent incidents. And if something feels off, trust your instincts. It's better to be cautious than regretful in a foreign land. For those who love Thailand's nightlife and have had only positive experiences, fantastic. Share your stories and guide others so they can enjoy the same. For those who've encountered unpleasantness or danger, speaking up is key, as it can spur change and inform future travelers. As Chinese women continue to explore the world, often leading the global surge in tourism, the conversation about safety, cultural respect, and informed partying isn't just about Thailand. It's relevant wherever travelers go. In the end, Thailand's nightlife remains a shimmering tapestry of beaches, bars, and boundless energy, an irresistible draw for countless wanderers from across the globe, including millions from China. With the right mix of caution, curiosity, and community awareness, it can be an unforgettable adventure. But the lights that shine so brightly at night also cast shadows, and it's in those shadows that caution, empathy, and collective vigilance must prevail. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Thailand's After Dark scene. Whether you're planning a trip soon or just fascinated by the interplay of cultures and nightlife, we hope this narrative helps you see beyond the stereotypes and postcards, revealing the complex, sometimes troubling, and yet undeniably captivating reality of Thailand after dark. Safe travels, and may your nights be filled with the best kind of surprises.